How's it going, everyone? I'm a white boy. So we're going to take a look at this video that I found on Craden Wright. I forget what his name is, the channel name is, but I will link it in the description below. He had this guy, and he's the leader of the separatist movement that's going on in Alberta. His name is, I forget his name now, Jeffery Rath. That's his name, Jeffrey Rath. So I'm going to play a clip here, and this guy, while I think he has good intentions for Alberta, he's a Pierre hater that doesn't sit well with me, and he's saying some things about Pierre that are completely and utterly 100% false, because everyone knows that Pierre is not in the WEF and has banned his cabinet from even being involved in any way, shape, or form with the WEF. And he does make that claim that he's in the WEF. Listen up.
Like his whole, and we all just intermarried. I mean, I remember having a poli-sci prof when I was in school that was talking about, growing up in Toronto in the 50s. And I mean, Woodward stores are gone now, but I mean, Woodward's used to have signs in the window saying help wanted. Jews, blacks, and Catholics need not apply.
Now, I looked this up. I searched high and low, and I'm going to show you something in a minute or two to counteract what he's saying, because I found no historical records on Google or anywhere that said that Woodward had stores in Toronto that had signs in the window that said Jews, blacks, and Catholics need not apply. I grew up in Toronto, okay? And later today, I'm even going to contact some of my old friends who had parents that grew up in East York, in Toronto, and I'm going to ask them if this is even true. I don't think it's true, because it goes against the Human Rights Act. that was done in 1962, because he said 50s and 60s.
Right? I mean, we've never always gotten along. I mean, there's always been underlying, ethnic and religious tensions in this country. And
that is true. That is true.
They're all now just being massively exacerbated by this complete flood of, I call them third worlders, but
he does make a few good points in this comment. My issue is with the WEF comment, by the way.
People from cultures other than our own who don't like us, don't like each other. It's like we had this thing in Northeast Calgary not too long ago where two factions of Eritreans on different sides of the Eritrean Civil War were going at one another with clubs and sticks.
And we have shootings in Toronto at Jewish synagogues and kids' schools by anti-Jewish people. From what I can gather, the information, it's from the Palestinian side of people, or people who side with them, like Antifa or something, from what I understand. And that's who might be doing it.
Like 300 of them. And I mean, my comment to a buddy of mine at the time was, well, I guess the only good thing is Trudeau didn't let them bring their AK-47s over. Right? I mean, it's ridiculous what's been going on. And, Pierre's completely out of touch. He's part of the problem. He's a world.
No, he's not part of the problem. He's been wanting to fix the problem ever since I've been hearing him speak for the last 7 years. He's been talking about bail reform for the last 5 years in Parliament. I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
Economic Forum globalist who doesn't see any of this being a problem.
He's not a global, a WEF globalist. No, he's not.
All of the major political parties in Canada are in the pockets of, the multi-billionaire, multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations. Like what is it, C3 Capital that owns Tim Hortons. I mean, Tim Hortons has been flooding Alberta with people from the third world under that international mobility program scam, where for $280 and a job offer, people can just come into Canada. So literally,
like I said, he made a few good points here. And my only issue, my two only issues, are his comments about the Catholics, Jews, and blacks in the 50s in Toronto not being able to get a job, because that's not true. Okay, 50s and 60s. And the WEF thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you some proof. Now, based on what I could find, based on historical records and research into Canadian retail history from the 50s and 60s, there is no specific verified evidence that Woodward's department store in Toronto hung signs in their windows reading "No Jews, no blacks, no Catholics need apply." While discriminatory hiring practice and exclusionary signage were common in Ontario in the early to mid-19th and 20th centuries, particularly at resorts and beaches, and in some businesses, evidence regarding specific department stores in Toronto, such as the retailer mentioned, is typically anecdotal. So there is no proof of what Jeff Rath is saying. Zero proof at all. Okay? I'm even going to ask people who grew up in Toronto, friends of mine who had parents that worked in Toronto in the 50s and 60s, and see what they think. And if I find anything to the contrary, or if I'm wrong, I will make a video saying I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.